Hello, welcome to the Carthage Public Library. I am going to speak today on getting started in researching your family history. My name is Joyce Buckert. I am a registrar of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and I work at the Hancock County Historical Society. Amy has asked me, as I said, to speak, and I'm going to walk you through the Ancestry program that's available at the library as a tool to help you along the way in searching for your ancestors. The first step in building a family tree is gathering records. You may already have some of these tools right at your hand, or you may know of someone in your family that does. These records can be most useful. You start with your tree with you. Then you move back a generation to your parents. And then you move back another generation to your grandparents. Put all of that information in and work backwards from you. There are pedigree charts, which are group sheets that help you. You can put one generation at a time, starting with you and putting down your siblings and your parents. Then you can go to the next generation by putting in your parents' information and their parents, going back one step at a time. The library has some family group sheets that you are welcome to use, and it will make it simple for you to write everything down. You will want a notepad because you will want to take notes as you go along, and some of the information that you could get would be information like family Bibles, if they're available, also journals, diaries, letters, if there are any available, and photographs of your family are very important. So you would want to have those and put them in generation on back. Obituaries, newspaper clippings, you can glean a lot out of an obituary. Birth, marriage, death certificates, those are all important. So if you have those, collect those and put them in the generations that they belong. And a personal interview can help you gather information about your ancestors. Your parents may tell you more about your grandparents. If your grandparents are living, you may be able to gather more information about each of their families, and so forth. But remember, take notes. When you enter your information or gather your information, you will want to start with the name, and you will want to use the entire name when possible. For women, use the maiden names of women until they were married, and then you can use their married name to correspond with their husband. Dates, you want to list the dates, day, month, year. If you're unsure of the day or the year, use the words before, after, or about before the date. You can use a CA, which is for circa, which means about, to indicate an estimate. And places are very important. Record as much information as possible about where they were, any events that happened. List the smallest level first and the largest level last. The commas and the spaces between the levels helps when not all levels are known. By building your family tree, you want to fill in the family members with as much detail as you know at this date. Always have proofs if possible. You can go to the courthouse and look at information as to dates and names. Also, you can add specific relationships with notations such as step person, adopted family, siblings, or possibly unknown. Unmarried parents, add the parents the way you've added anyone else with a notation. More than two parents, add the biological parents, and then you can add the alternates as stepmother, stepfather, and on down the line, step-grandparents. Now, to find records, you will want to gather as much information as you know, and then start searching. And keep your records organized. You may want to have information about your family from where they came. If you know that your grandparents came from Belgium, you may be wanting to search Belgium records. And Ancestry helps that immensely, break it down. If you're wanting to include the census, the birth, marriage, death, immigration, naturalizations, you can use Ancestry to find some of this. And some records have an image of records available. And you would want to write down this information or save it on a thumb drive so you can use it later to save your information. And if you want to print something, you can do that also. You can print for 20 cents a copy at the library. Now you're wanting to put it all together. And this is a little bit about using your DNA, your support from Ancestry. You want to communicate online possibly with ancestors who connect through certain relatives. You can search on Ancestry by surnames, locations, years of interest to you, and enter all of that on your profile so you can have it at hand wherever you go to doing your search. I want to give you a little bit about searching, some tips that may be able to help you. Start your search from you. Narrow your search by location of date of a family member. Say you were born in New York. Your grandparents or your parents were born in New York also, but maybe your grandparents came from Germany or another country overseas. You would have to go back and use some of that, and Ancestry will help you with that. Also, try searching with both either more information or less information. Sometimes the names in Ancestry won't use the full name. It's recommended that you do that to narrow it down. But you will want to test the waters, as you might say. You can add and remove different facts because they may not all be there, but it may help you get to where you want to go. And search for the right records for the right time. There are many names in Ancestry by perhaps your parents' names. You want to make sure that they were in that time and that location. You may have to look at some, but you can go on and eliminate those. If you don't want any ancestors from overseas, limit it to the United States. You can do that also on Ancestry, and that will cut down your searching time. And you will want to search the females by using their maiden name first. Spelling mistakes. There were many spellings of your family's names. You may look at a person and say, that's not the way we spell it, but that may have been the way they spelled it back in the early days. And sometimes handwriting is difficult to read. So you might mistake an L for an F or a T, which they hadn't crossed. Read the descriptions at the bottom of the record collections, because it will give you hints of where that came from. And you may have to go to that particular search to find what you need. Now that I've given you a few hints, we will go to the computer and show you a few searches.